Hi, this is Tomasz Fechner. Welcome to EliteGuitarist.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to play Valsa Choro by a Brazilian composer, Heitor Villa Lobos. So in this part of the tutorial, we are going to focus on the beginning of the piece, the very first main section, which is also repeated further in the piece in the measures 65 through 96 and 129 through 160. But we are going to focus on the measures 1 all the way to the measure 32. So, without further ado, let's start. I would like to start with discussing the fingering, which is not very difficult, the left-hand fingering. And then we are going to briefly talk about the nature of this first section and of the whole piece in general. So, let's start. We start with 2 notes E on the first beat of the first measure. And as you probably noticed in the music, there is an accent above the top note. So make sure that this note rings through the whole measure. It is played much louder than the accompaniment, okay? So this is the first beat. Okay, and then on the second beat you have to grab 2 notes. You have to grab C with the first finger on the first fret of the second string and E on the second fret of the 4th string. So, and you play it together with the open G string, like this. And on the third beat, all you have to do is just to lift your first finger in your left hand and you get the third beat, right? So once again, the first measure, 1, 2, 3. Notice that I'm playing the second beat a little bit louder than the third beat. It's because the second beat resolves to the third beat. There's more tension on this chord and less tension on this chord. It's a small appoggiatura, okay? Let's go to the second measure, which is very similar. You start again with the octave E, and this time instead of playing with the first finger on the second string, you're going to play with the third finger on the second string on the second fret. So instead of C, we have C sharp. And the third beat is exactly the same. Okay, and now the third measure. Again, we start with the octave E. And then, instead of playing on the second fret with the third finger, I'm going to play on the third fret of the second string with my 4th finger. And I will resolve this to the third finger on the second string. Okay, so this chord on the second beat of the third fret of the third measure resolves to chord with a note on the second fret of the second string. Okay, great. Let's keep going. In the fourth measure, we have this. So with the left hand, you have to grab the same thing as in the first measure, these 2 notes, and in the right hand, you will need to perform a double stop. Double stops is a really cool term that comes also from the violin playing, where violin players, they have to play the bass note first and then they can play the melody. It's because each string is on a different angle, so they have to kind of break the bow around the whole around all the strings. So we do the same with the guitar. We have to start with playing with our thumb on the 6th string, and then very quickly we play an arpeggio on the first 4 strings, like this. And it's kind of tricky to perform it well, because you have to get rid of this gap when your thumb jumps between the strings. So the faster you jump with your thumb, the better. Okay? So, this is the first beat of the measure number 4. And then on the second beat, we have the same thing. Just lift the first finger and you play the second, third, and fourth string. It's an E minor chord. And then open G and E. Once again, let's cover this measure. Notice that there was the most tension on the first chord. Then I do a small decrescendo. And these last two notes are very quiet, okay? Great. Let's keep going. Now we are in the measure number 5. So, you have to play the note F sharp on the 6th string with your first finger. And this note F sharp is on the 2nd fret of the 6th string. And on the top, in the top voice, we have A sharp, which is located on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. So we play these two notes together. But notice that there is no a note with the stem going up. Therefore, this is just the accompaniment. Okay, and now we have the melody. Okay, you have to add a small. You have to add a bar chord on the 2nd fret. Just put your finger down, and add the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string on the note G. So this is the first beat, and then you play this chord, and on the 3rd beat you just have to lift the 3rd finger and play the top 3 treble strings. Okay, once again, measure number 5. Great. Notice that I'm doing a small trick here, which is totally optional. You don't have to do it, but if you like it, please do. So, since this is Valsa, right? I'm trying to make it a little bit more dance-like. And in the accompaniment, I'm playing the long first note, and then the second note is a little bit shorter, and the third note and the third beat is again a little bit longer. And it sounds like this, the accompaniment. Right? It feels a little bit like a dance. Alternatively, you can just play like this. I like playing the second beat staccato, but it's kind of like with a spice in the kitchen. You don't want to overdo it. You want to do it with a good taste, and do it only once in a while. Then it's going to sound cool. Because with stuff like that, it's very easy to overdo it, and then the audience can get bored of this very quickly. Okay, measure number 5. I'll play this again for you. Okay, measure number 6. We are still in the second position. We have a bar chord, but this time we have to play the 3rd and 5th string under the bar chord, and then in the melody you play. You have to press down these two notes. G on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, played with the 2nd finger, and D sharp on the 4th fret of the 2nd string, played with the 3rd finger, like this. This is the second beat of measure number 6, and then play again the treble string, just lift the 2nd finger. I'll play the measure number 6 for you again. Like this, okay? Great. Let's keep going. Measure 7. Again, we will have a double stop with our thumb in the right hand. This is the first chord. It's kind of more complicated compared to the previous chords, okay? Let's break it down. We start with the open E string in your right hand, and then quickly your thumb has to jump and stay on the 4th string, and you play this. With the 2nd finger, you play the 6th fret of the 4th string, this note. With the 3rd finger, you play the 7th fret of the 3rd string, right here, the 3rd finger. With your 1st finger, you play the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and your 4th finger is on the 8th fret of the first string on the note C. Okay? So these are the first 4 strings. And you have to play it with a double stop. Like this. Okay, great. Then on the second beat, you'll play treble strings, but just slide your 4th finger 1 fret down to the 7th fret. Like this, okay? And then on the 3rd beat, just lift your 4th finger. Once again, measure number 7. Great. And now we'll have a jump. You have to jump to the 1st position, and the only note that you'll have to play is G sharp. G sharp is on the 1st fret of the 3rd string, right here. And since this is going to be a bigger jump, I would recommend rolling this 1st beat. Because then you can start rolling the chord before your hand even gets to the note G sharp, okay? So this is the last beat of the previous measure and the downbeat of measure number 8. And now we'll have a melody in the bass. Open 6th string, then G sharp on the 4th fret of the 6th string, played with the 4th finger, then B, played with the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and now you'll have to go to the 5th position, play D. Instead of using the open string, play this D on the 5th fret of the 5th string with the 1st finger, and then just add your 4th finger on the 8th fret of the same string, the 5th string, and on the downbeat of the measure number 9, you'll play these 2 notes. A on the 5th fret of the 6th string, played with the 1st finger, together with E on the 7th fret of the 5th string, played with the 3rd finger, like this. Okay? Let's play this bass melody in the measure number 8 a little bit faster. And we land on the downbeat of the measure number 9. Great.